Look at my recently completed dream garage. It's just amazing and beautiful, especially with this new bend-packed, gravity-defying car lift. But in reality, all of this is just a giant monument to my stupidity. Every car behind me right now is broken. But these are the least urgently broken Hoovies. There are even more broken up at my mechanic, the Car Wizard. So today, I'm going to talk about how almost all of my Hoovies are broken, including the ones that I just fixed. So maybe you all won't look up to me and think this is such a glamorous, aspirational lifestyle. But there is some hope that I'm going to get through some of these projects. There's been some progress, right, Frank? Shake? Shake? Good boy, good boy. I've been holding him hostage with some lunch meat in my hand so he'll sit still. Sit, shake, speak. Yeah, there you go, there you go. Now he'll run off and you'll never see him again. So, no surprise, the consequences of buying the cheapest whatever it is in the USA that's often neglected comes with constant repairs. And despite spending about $5,000 a month on average in repairs, I'm still way underwater. I was hoping I'd be a little better off than this, but nearly every car in here is broken. So today we're going to go over all of the broken things with all these broken cars behind me, and then we'll head up to the Car Wizard and hopefully he can figure out what broke on that after spending thousands of dollars fixing it. And then we can see some progress on some major projects. So let's start with the 6 Hoovies stacked here, going from the most broken to the least broken. And the most broken and the most frustrating one is this DeLorean. It was the cheapest DeLorean in the USA. And since then, I've spent about $10,000 on parts and labor fixing this thing just to make it drivable, and it's still nowhere close to being done. I started calling this thing the Albatross for 2 reasons. Number 1, because of the gull wing doors, and number 2, it's cursed like an albatross. It needs fuel system work, suspension work, a lot of little odds and ends, and I'm reluctant to spend that kind of money because I'm already way over probably what this thing is worth, so spending thousands of dollars more would just be a total waste. I've done it before, but this car's made me so mad that I'm just putting it off. I don't know if I'll ever get it done. It may just sit up here and look pretty forever. Now the cars get less broken from here, or well, kind of. My 1992 500E only needs a transmission rebuild and a new differential. It's waiting on that. I just need to drive it 30 miles to this transmission shop that'll fix it. So that's actually a lot of stuff. And down here, my 1966 Imperial Crown convertible also needs its transmission removed because of a leak. It drives just fine. I can top it off periodically, but it's leaving a pretty good leak underneath, ruining my freshly coated garage floor. So we'll have to take care of that relatively soon. Transmission out. It needs to be torn apart by a transmission guy to get to this seal. Wizard can't fix it. My E63 Wagon is home, and it was home all of one day after spending $4,000 fixing it, and the check engine light has come back on. So we're going to take this up to the Car Wizard to see what the error code is, find out why I am now basking in the warm amber glow of the check engine light, which is something that my Lamborghini Gallardo also has. Despite only having 4,000 miles on this thing, the check engine light is coming off and on, and I discovered the hard way when the check engine light came on that I was wrong in my first video. This Gallardo needs a special Lamborghini laptop scan tool thing to diagnose these trouble codes. If it was a few years newer, I could use a normal scanner like for a Volkswagen and have no problems, but because I have this early gated manual Gallardo, diagnosing it going to be a problem. It still drives fine. I guess it's normal for the check engine light to get flipped for random reasons and it goes away. Bad fuel's a really common deal. It's really sensitive to fuel that's not perfect, but still, check engine light on my most expensive car and I can't fix it. Tavares is going to send me his laptop eventually, one of these days, Tavares. And lastly, my 500 SL has a really weird electrical problem that I want to document while it's doing it. It's like it's demon possessed or something. So I'm going to put it on the ground. Oh, move this out first and then put it on the ground and show you all. A few hours ago I put it on this trickle charger before I filmed because the battery drains after a couple of hours due to this demonic electrical issue, which I shall now demonstrate. Listen when I open the door. That's the fuel pump running along with all the electrical systems, like I had just taken the key and turned the ignition all the way, but without bumping the starter. Weird. Now, it starts up normal. So she's purring like a kitten now, but watch as I remove the key from the car. It still runs. The steering wheel's locked, the electrical system for like the radio is off, but the engine still runs. Now observe me closing the door. Closing the door shuts off the car. So that's a new one for me, never seen anything like it before, but thankfully there are a few cars in the garage that aren't broken, like my 1990 Mazda Miata, because Miata is always the answer. It always starts, it always runs, it always drives. And then surprisingly, my Rolls-Royce Phantom has had one set of repairs in a year after that initial sorting, and it's always been a really solid citizen. So Japanese car and Phantom ownership are very rewarding. German car is not. Hopefully this check engine light is something minor. So we're gonna head up to the Car Wizard, check on the other projects. 2 of them are getting close to being finished, and see what's going on with this guy. Hello, Wizard.
You brought your baby with you.
I brought my baby, little Frank.
Hi, Frank.
I brought my other baby too. I appreciate you getting this fixed so quickly, like under a week, but it's broken just as quickly again.
Oh no.
Check engine light's on, and you have the right thing in your hand to see what it is.
Let's find out why it came on.
What, you don't like being held like a baby anymore? Go ahead.
Sing him rock-a-bye baby.
Yeah, rock-a-bye puppy, Frank-a-ding-doo. Ding-a-ding-doo. Okay, I'll put you down. I'll put you down.
Hi, Frank.
Read codes. Frank's curious.
Can you help me read them, Frank? Fuel pressure control, self-adaptation for the right cylinder bank. Right cylinder bank is too lean at idle speed. Be a vacuum leak or an oxygen sensor. I'll have to diagnose this and see exactly why that came up. But
Okay.
I can look it up and see what real quick here.
Sure. What are we doing here, Wizard?
Taking a looky.
Looky-loo?
Yep. The fuel cap's missing. You know what that tells me? Somebody's been checking fuel pressure because they've had this problem before.
Hmm.
We were over here with the power steering pump, but it's saying the problem is over here on the right side.
You're just trying to establish that this is not the Wizard's fault.
Exactly.
I see.
It could possibly be where something got bumped, but I'm ruling out that factor.
So what do you think it is? Any guesses?
Well, the research I've done says that fuel pumps are 2 of them, and the common fix for this is new fuel pumps and possibly a fuel pressure rail sensor.
Probably another $1,000.
Probably
Right?
more than that.
Oh, God. Well, it's driving fine, so I'll wait, I guess, till it leaves me stranded or you've got an opening. But you have done a lot of stuff. Actually, some good news on my DB7, right? So my pretty wheels didn't get ripped off. They're actually just right behind the camera. I'm getting new tires because they're over 10 years old and they feel weird. But there was a little oil leak, and I felt like this one could be easy to fix. It seemed like it was really clean oil. And I was right.
You're right.
Yes.
The oil filter that was on there, the ring, there's some kind of a defect in the ring. It was just letting a tiny little drip every now and then.
So just to change an oil filter.
Change the oil filter, and I've been running it for a while here, and I checked it, and it's dry.
This is the fluke Aston Martin, the one you can drive every day, I guess.
Yeah.
The supercharged Jaguar engine certainly helps with that. And I guess other cars in the garage, it's bad news, good news, so we'll start with the bad news. Frank, this is the turbo engine out of my Porsche 911. You see, there's no engine in there. It's here on the ground, and the reason why is because the coolant pipes failed while I was on the track a long time ago. And people always say that I would save a bunch of money if I didn't use the Wizard and I worked on the cars myself. But this is Exhibit A on why, if you're not qualified, you shouldn't work on something this complicated yourself, because I tried to do it. I couldn't really figure it out on my own, so I had to have help from the Wizard and Junior Mint. It was a 3-man team. We all did different things, and now it's 3 different people who don't know how to put the engine back in by ourselves. We all remember different parts of it, and we don't know how to do it all on our own, so it's kind of daunting, isn't it?
It is. I can get the motor back in there, but as far as what you unplug, I don't know. I could put it all back in myself.
Right.
It's faster if you remember.
If you were the one taking it apart.
Yeah.
So if I were like a do-it-myself channel, I would be so screwed right now. I probably would have gotten the engine out if I didn't drop it on my head. But then getting it back in, I don't know. That's why you see so many unfinished project cars in people's garages that are all taken apart and not put back together, because they look at this after doing it all and like just totally overwhelmed. It'll get done eventually and soon. We'll probably get started on it next week. No progress has been made since we got the coolant pipes back from BBI, all nice and welded. But the other Humpty Dumpty car that was in 1,000 pieces is actually back together, right? Remember this one, Frank? You love this van. Going for rides with your sister.
Spaceship van.
But it's actually running again. It's alive, yes?
Alive again. Runs and drives. We're waiting on a wiring connector for the NOx sensor. It just kind of fell apart when we tried to put it back on. That's the last thing that's left on here, but it is running and driving now.
So in a few days, this thing will be 100%. But
yeah,
it's
put the covers back on, put the seats back in, and back in business.
For those who don't remember, the head gasket failed on this Previa. It's a mid-engine supercharged rear-wheel drive van. You literally sit on the engine with these things. So to do the head gasket, the engine had to come out. It's a pretty big job, but now it's back in, and you're saying I can test drive it?
You can.
With no seat?
You can sit on one of your old Fast and Furious Prius wheels.
All right, well, I guess I'll do that. I'll leave you with Frank, though. Here, can you watch Frank?
Hey, Frank.
All right, first start in the Previa. The engine directly beneath me. Well, there it is. You can see the throttle right between my legs. All righty then. I'm not even out of the parking lot yet, and I can already tell this thing runs a lot smoother for two reasons. The fresh head gasket will help with compression and let the engine run smoother. And also, while the engine was out, I had the Wizard replace the front drive shaft flex discs, which is a common problem with these. Even though this thing isn't all-wheel drive, it still has a front drive shaft that runs up to the accessories like the air conditioner, compressor, the power steering, alternator, that kind of stuff, which is up in the front where engines normally are. So far so good, other than the fact that it's a little unnerving to see floor and engine right in between your legs like this. Woohoo! A lot louder, and buckling my seatbelt would kind of be pointless. But she is driving great. A little scary, but I'm so happy this Previa is back in action. Also getting a little toasty in here from this engine uninsulated just right up underneath me. Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Thank you for watching.